do it. I'm gonna trade my old clerk for a Rockstar dame. Might even get my broker to change his game. Cause we all just wanna work with title rock stars and sell some hilltop houses closing 15 more. The cities come easy and the closings go quick. We'll all stay busy cause we just don't quit.
Welcome to the next edition of Rockstar Closers podcast. We have today our special guest, Frank Gallagher from Hometown Realty.
Thank you for having me here.
Thanks
This
for
is awesome.
coming.
Yeah, kind of shocked by how official this really is because it's really cool. I hope I look good in the bright lights here, but we shall see. So.
Takes like 10 years off your look, right?
Oh, I certainly hope so. I hope so. The gray hairs of being a broker really kicking in today. So,
You know what sucks about gray hair? Men look distinguished. And women, when we get gray hair, we look old.
but you can actually go to like a hair salon. If I walk into a hair salon and get it done, my buddies are going to rag on me forever. So I have friends that do, but I don't know. I hope I look distinguished in this light. So we'll see. But.
And we also have Brittany.
Hi.
This is her first podcast, so I'm excited. I know she's nervous, but
Just a little bit.
It's taking the edge off of me, which is really nice. So I really, I appreciate it, Britt. Thank you.
No problem.
So tell us a little bit about your company. How did you get started? Actually, what did you do before real estate?
All right. So, and Brittany knows this. I was a bartender in North Wildwood. So went to college. I went to Fairleigh Dickinson, got a bachelor's of science degree in marketing, and came out and it was '08 and there was no jobs. So I went down the shore. I was a bouncer. I loved doing that. I got my ass kicked every once in a while. But it was a really cool job to be, 22 and having that as a living. And then I got into bartending, bar backing, and doing it down the shore. I mean, it's excellent. You get to meet a lot of people, but it's pretty short term. So the money is great. Oh yeah. It's great for 3 months. It was a little bar called Westie's. It's now the Inlet. If you're ever in North Wildwood, it's a great bar. You make a lot of connections down there, which was really cool. The only problem is it's really short term. So you make money for 4 months out of the year, and then you come back. And I was working at Curran's. I don't know if everybody knows Curran's. It's right on 95. I loved working there, but again, the money just wasn't consistent. And then I guess in my mid 20s, I was the loser of my friends, where I didn't have an actual that was all I was doing. I was living on my mom's couch, and I'm like, I need a change. And I was actually in Chicago on vacation. I saw the National Association of Realtors building, and it's gorgeous. If you've ever seen it in Chicago, it's stands out right on the river. And I was like, maybe I could be a realtor. And that was kind of how I got into it.
So is nobody that you met was a mentor or anything in that nature?
Not necessarily.
Initially?
So a little bit. I had a buddy, John, who sold my parents' house for us. And John lived in Washington Township. My parents lived in Cinnaminson. So it's a 45-minute ride. And I'm like, if I have to go 45 minutes to find a real estate agent, my friends are also going to have to go 45 minutes to find a real estate agent. We kind of have a little bit of a need for this. And
bad thinking.
Yeah. And so my buddies are in their early 20s. Or mid 20s. They're starting to make some money. And we don't have that kind of person there to help us out. So, and John's there. And once I actually got my license, John was a mentor to me. I would go down to Washington Township, 45 minutes to go learn real estate, and I'd put my little suit on. That's what I thought real estate was I bought a nice pair of shoes and a suit, and I went to, I was at KW at that point. And I walked in and I thought I was the part, and I realized I didn't know anything about it. So, but it was more of a sparsity of anything, not having somebody there to be able to help my friends out or family or even the people of Cinnaminson. I was like, if you're selling your home, who do you go to? And that kind of propelled me forward. It's more supply and demand than anything else, I guess.
Do you miss bartending?
Love it. I miss it all the time.
You could come here and be our bar.
Oh, I would love to. We were at a Beef and Beer a couple weeks ago, and they were overwhelmed. The bar was crowded. And I was like, I'll jump back. And my wife's eyes are just knows that's the first thing I go to. It was I just want to go back behind the bar. It's the coolest job in the world. People come down, you make their vacation, so they come down to see you, and every year you're watching their families grow, and they're bringing new people in, and then you have your people that come down every week, and it's really cool. But I miss the camaraderie of it. I miss the guys and the girls that I worked with. there was like 16 of us that worked for 10 years plus, going back every year.
Okay.
That part I didn't miss out.
I bet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where did you grow up?
Northeast Philadelphia.
You go to Northeast?
So I went to St. Martin Tours. We moved when I was 13. Moved over to Cinnamon.
Okay.
So Summerdale Playground. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Summerdale, but it's Oxford Circle. I guess like the best defining point is probably Frankfurt.
Okay.
So like right in that little pocket.
High school did you graduate from?
Cinnamon.
Okay.
Yeah. We moved over middle of 7th grade. So if you ever moved in the late 90s in the middle of 7th grade, it was a tough time to move.
Yeah. Well, middle school's tough.
Oh,
in
yeah.
general.
Lot of fighting. But Cinnamon was cool because most of the people were moving from Northeast Philly over to Jersey. And I graduated with, I think, 5 people from St. Martin's I graduated high school with as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was really
Nice.
cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, you met Brittany before any of us, I think.
Correct.
Any of the Malcolms.
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet?
Down shore. I was bartending one night. I had just started, I believe, with Neighborhood not too long before that.
Okay.
And Brittany was down there. She met up with Ryan for a couple drinks and came in. And I don't know. From there, it was just kind of, this is who I'm going to be doing business with now. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. And it's weird because when you first start out, no one tells you any of the roles of like real estate. You think in your head, I'm supposed to just sell homes and this and that. You don't realize like you need a mortgage rep and you need a title company and you have to have these people on hand that you trust.
Right.
And they don't say that in school, right? They tell you, your clients have to get pre-approved and you have to go through the process of getting clean title. They don't say you have to make those connections with people so that you feel more comfortable moving forward
Right.
in doing what you're doing, right? So I didn't even know kind of what Brittany's role was because I didn't know what title was. I hadn't really sold anything yet. It was probably maybe my first year. So I didn't really know what her job was, as crazy as it is to say now.
Most people don't know.
They
until
probably still don't know, right?
Yeah.
But
They say car title.
yeah, but it's such a weird thing because you develop these like relationships with people and it comes out of nowhere. It's, you're having a drink in a bar. Like one of my mortgage reps is a guy that used to coach me in football, my freshman year of football. And to see that person and the relationship we had then when I was, getting my ass kicked by this dude to now it's like we work in hand in what we do. My other mortgage rep, Kristen, so you guys know Kristen, she walked in the office one day and single mom needed some work. And she's been my go-to ever since. She closed a $50,000 deal for me. And I'm like, no one wanted this. And from there on up, I just trusted her. But it's those kind of weird developments that you don't see yourself 10 years ago having these relationships now.
Right.
But it's just so weird how it kind of comes about.
What do you think has been the biggest challenge throughout your career?
That's a good question. I'd love to say the economy right now has probably not been the easiest. All right, so flash forward, we opened the company September of 22. Go out on a little leap, decide to do it. October, November, December are the 3 worst historical periods for the interest rate ever, or at least in like my time of doing this. So you come out of the gate running, and then this kind of, not only is it the winter time and people aren't buying and selling homes, now all of a sudden you're competing with the interest rate as well. And it really it's gotten progressively better, but not at a rapid pace. So we went from selling, like one year I sold 47 homes and I thought I was like the bee's knees, right? And Mike, who I worked with, Fasone, Mike probably sold 51 homes that year. Like neighborhood was like thriving at that point. And we thought this was never going to end. And luckily for us, the values went up. So at least we have that going on where we're not selling the same amount of value, but we're selling higher, dollar amounts. That's what kind of kept us afloat at this point. But the economy's probably been the biggest thing. I don't know. I think the rest of it kind of like follows suit. As long as you stay diligent and you just keep showing up and you keep putting your name out there, you're going to stay busy enough relatively. But I think having to compete with, like even the last couple months, we were kind of rocking and rolling and then we go to war. And you don't really think about these things from a real estate perspective. But once you're paying $4 for gas and you were paying $3 a week ago, and there's shortages on this and that, it really does kind of affect you. And I never thought that would happen as a broker, because as a real estate agent, I didn't really see it too much. But as a broker, you're like, wow, we're not selling nearly as much as we were in early March, and it just kind of came to a halt.
Right.
So I didn't think that would be my answer. It kind of got me off the cuff there, but because I'm not really like a political or economical kind of guy, but that's what we deal in, is supply and demand. And we don't have any inventory in Cinnaminson, so that really hinders us as well. If one house goes up at $550, let's say it's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath at $550, there's going to be 15 offers.
So you're still seeing a lot of
Everywhere.
fighting and overbidding and
All the time. We just put up a twin in Palmyra. So I sold my house in Palmyra. It was a single 3-bed, 1-bath. I sold it in 21. Got $250 for it and thought it was the greatest thing in the world. We just listed a twin 3-bed, 1.5 bath, and we put it up for $375. The other agent is cutting commissions. They're doing everything they have to try and get their clients this house. That sparse of inventory. And it's been this way for 4 years.
It's insane. Do you see any relief coming?
Not where we're at.
No.
Nah. And I'm sure you guys have it up here too. I know that we have we just got to buy her a house in Southampton. Same thing. The appraisals aren't coming in the way we need them to, because naturally the market can't keep up to the sparsity of inventory. But that's kind of where we're at, is like, we're so far behind that twins are now acting as single family homes, and single family homes are acting as luxury homes, and the prices just continue to skyrocket. And I'm talking with my hands so much, I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it. I'm the Italian in me. I'm like rapid fired here. But yeah, I don't think there's a relief, just because I don't know how many homes have to come on the market at the same time to kind of quell that buyer pool that you have now. Right. And that's not even the regular spring market. These are the people that are from like the winter market that still don't have homes yet. So these clients I might have for a year and a half, they're getting beat everywhere they go. And it has nothing to do with our offers. If you're in the 350, 400 range, you have people with like cash leaving the city to come over to the suburbs, or their parents are throwing them money, and you can't compete as a 20% down conventional buyer.
Right.
How does that work, right? Like, what do you do then? Is you've saved $100,000 up to be able to purchase a home. You have an 800 credit score, and somebody has cash leaving the city, or leaving, Morristown, or their parents are retired and they're selling their home, and they can give you a little liquidity. What happens then? Like, you're kind of dead in the water on every offer you put in, and that's if the inventory is even good enough to put the offer in on.
Right.
So,
what are you seeing amongst like foreclosures? Because you would think like these houses are going up, they're going higher, people are having to spend more. So then at what point is there a breaking that, I can't make my monthly payment? Are you seeing any of that yet?
We don't, again, where we're at, I don't know if people are just masking it or they're doing the best they can to just chew into their mortgage. But I was reading today on Realtor.com, like Midwest, they're getting hit with a lot of foreclosures right now. I love the West Coast of Florida. So like, I look down there all the time. I'm like, I'm never moving there. I know that because my wife hates the heat. So there's no shot, but like, I'll have Clearwater up on my radar, and you'll see the amount of inventory that comes like Indian Rocks Beach, or like even of like Orlando. There's so much inventory down there because they had this boom of, inventory come in, and they just overbuild everywhere, right? So they're able to, if you're a buyer down there, you can just pick and choose what you want to. Up here, I don't know if it's just, maybe it's a median age range where like people, they'll hold their home until their 70s, or like they don't necessarily have to worry about, where's the nearest hospital at that I can get taken care of if I'm going to be in my 80s living here. And I pay, really?
Right.
I mean, so you're down in Florida, you have to worry about that. You're down in like Georgia, like they're not necessarily known for the same things that we're known for up here. So I don't know. And again, this doesn't really lend to foreclosure much, but I just don't see it happening up here. I don't know that we're going to see it much up here. I really don't. And not immediately, at least, because I feel like and then maybe we have a lot of wholesalers up here too, which is another thing that's going
true.
on recently. Like if you start to get to the back end of where you're at, I feel like I'm watching HGTV all the time because like now these regular people are wholesaling and they're all over like Facebook.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it. And I think if you get, and I don't want to use the word desperate, but if you get behind enough on it, that becomes a thought process is I can go to them, just, liquefy here and get out of this bad situation that I'm in.
Right.
But the problems, I think what we're going to see is the people now that are spending $600, $550 for a 4-bedroom home that used to go for $350, that's where the problem's going to come in at. And I don't know how far down the line it goes. Like, is this a 3-year from now problem? Is this a 5-year from now problem? Or do we strengthen as an economy and those people are able to then, I don't know, maybe refi or do what they need to get a little bit extra money back and be able to, cover themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's the craziest deal you ever saw?
Personally?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think they're going to watch this. So I'll get, all right. So I had one deal that almost put me out of real estate. Oh. And I was standing on the corner of Allegheny and Almond. Our broker at the time came out and I'm like, dude, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Just emotional wrecking from the beginning. We're looking at houses in like Little Egg Harbor and the clients are nice people. They were VA buyers and it was just where they were looking at the time of the year, there was septic and well, right? Fun. So we're in Little Egg Harbor, we're in Pemberton. We finally end up in Williamstown. The winter is cold as could be, right? So we go under contract in January. Brittany did title for this deal, so I think she remembers this. There's a septic issue. And then there's issues with the seller not being able to cover certain aspects and they're underwater and everything on every side was a little bit tough. The septic issue goes from January through February, March, April. We finally settle on Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day Friday. We were in Washington Township or somewhere like right off of 42. They called me every day, 2, 3, 4 times a day. What's going on with the septic? And I'm like, there is 2 feet of snow on the ground. You can't dig up a property. Like there's too much liability in putting this in now. Like this was a conversation we had off the bat.
This was the buyers calling
This is
you?
the buyers. And I don't know anything about septic. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm learning about septic. If you have septic, I promise you I'll learn. 5, 6 years ago, I knew nothing about it. We're in Cinnaminson. It's public water, public sewer, right? And our office is based out of Philly. No one talks about septic, right? If you have septic, you're probably at the end of your line now because they usually put them in like in the early 80s. Got 40, 45 years. So
well, some places in like Bucks County, they're still putting it in like new construction.
It works. Yeah. I mean, it gets you 40 years, right? And I'm sure the technology there is probably even better.
Much better.
Don't get a home inspection in January for a septic system is what I'm going to tell you. And if your clients, and I don't want to use the words irrational because I don't think that's the case. I think like when you're going on vacation, you're so excited about it, right? And like you're looking things up all the time. Same thing with buying a home, right? So you're excited and everything is about this home. But if it's going over the course of 5.5 months, you can't call your realtor 4 or 5 times a day. And the emotional toll on it was like, you're not doing your job. You're not taking care of us the way you need to.
That's frustrating.
I can't dig up a septic system, right? And again, I'm learning about this as we go. And the other agent, like I'm trying to call her every day. And even she's giving me feedback. She's like, stop calling me every day. I'm like, I just need to see if there's an update, right? So we had called the septic people, the seller, the seller's agent. Everybody was involved with this, all because my clients couldn't get the septic system in time. Then when they finally got it in, there was a DEP issue because they put, there was a environmental issue. They put the septic system in too close to where there was a stream behind it. So yeah, so they had to dig that back up. So that took another month. We got to the settlement table. We closed at like 6:45 on Memorial Day Friday.
So it took almost
Middle
like
of traffic.
6 months. Jeez.
Again, no fault of my own. I will be the first person that tells you when I'm wrong in a transaction. And I love to be able to give advice like right off the bat. It's like trying to get a swimming pool inspection done in January. It just doesn't work. And you kind of have to, I don't want to say buyer beware, but you have to look at it and say, this is going to take a little additional time if I want this up to par. But the septic system was so bad, they couldn't even move a family in. They had this small septic system for a 5-bedroom house. So I never thought I thought this much about septic either, by the way. But the amount of time and effort, my wife came home from work one day. I'm laying on the floor. I'm just like exhausted. I couldn't deal with it emotionally anymore. And I'm like, this isn't life. Like I can't be getting beat down every single day.
So how to put a realtor out of business, call them 4 or 5 times a day.
About something you can't control.
Yeah.
For months.
Like if we're having an appraisal issue, I welcome the conversations, and that means that we're figuring out ways to get past this, right? If we're going through home inspection issues, I want to talk to you a couple times. I want to make sure every little detail of what you're looking for is taken care of. If we're 3 months in and there's no contingency periods, there's nothing else, it's just we have to wait till the snow melts. I can't get out there quicker to help the ground defrost.
Right.
And it was a brutal winter.
You could go with one of them blowers.
I was thinking with a blowtorch. I was like, this might get it done quicker, but then you got to dig. And like, they're not putting hundreds of thousands of dollars of like machinery out to go excavate on your $260,000 home. They're just not going to risk it. So
Well, it's an emotional time for people when they buy houses. And
you guys know how it is. When you have a client who like, after the time it's done and maybe they have some sort of an issue, or even if it's beforehand, they're not getting the proceeds they think they're getting. If they're calling 4, 5, 6 times and you're giving the same answer over and over again, it starts to break you down a little bit because there's only so much you can do as a person to explain this. And then it's tying up the rest of your day and the rest of your deals. So you don't really want to have to like, here's what the answer is, and we can revisit it a little bit if we need to. But if we're right here and we have 3 months until the ground falls, I can't answer any more questions.
Right.
You know, there's been some really, as bad as that one sounds, I think I'm really lucky. I've gotten a lot of great deals and hundreds of good buyers and sellers. The people that you help out at like the day of settlement, they're crying and they're so excited, brings you back all the time.
yeah.
It's like that, like the last golf swing you take where like you pipe the ball down the middle. You go back the next day like happy because you're like, oh, I can still play this game, right?
Right.
And I can't. I'm not a good golfer. So I don't know why I use that as an example, but everybody uses that. Like that one good golf shot keeps you coming back. Those clients that are so happy that they just achieved something that they didn't think they'd ever be able to do, that'll bring you back every time. Yeah. So there are bad ones. I'm sure there's 1,000 realtors that have worse stories than that. So if you have a worse, I'm sure I probably do. That was the first one that came to the top of my mind. But my wife's probably going to watch this and go, I remember that time because I was a miserable the whole time. Because you can't turn it off. Like I have like this Irish guilt complex where like it just kind of takes over if I feel like I'm doing something wrong. And I knew I wasn't, but it was enough to like kind of bury me at that point. So good question though.
Yeah.
How we doing, Brett?
Good.
So quiet over there.
I know, right?
Sorry.
What questions do
I'm in
you
here.
have? What do you got?
Don't know. Come back to me.
Okay, I like it.
Well, so your office recently moved,
We did.
right? So where were you?
Okay, so we left. All right, we opened up in Cinnaminson strictly on the fact I live there. I love the people around us. So it's like, it's a nice little environment. There's not a lot of brokerages around. Everybody's in Morristown. So you can sell one home in Morristown or you can sell 4 homes in Cinnaminson. It's just kind of the price variation. So everybody kind of flocks to the bigger names that are on Main Street. So we open up on Route 130 South in this C-suite office spot. And it's nice. The guys are awesome. They took a chance on us. I didn't have a bank account to even show for this. I'm like, I've saved up money. Here's my personal bank account. And I did whatever steps I needed to for the state to kind of authorize us to open a brokerage. But other than that, I really I went in hat in hand. I'm like, I live around the corner. I'm a local kid. My agents are local guys. And I just need somewhere to kind of hang our hat for a little bit. And we walk in. The room smells like weed. The guys will tell you it smells like weed.
Pink walls, right?
Oh, there were pink walls everywhere. Every wall was 2 coats of like Pepto-Bismol pink. And my guys are awesome. The guys that left with me. So I decided to do this in the weirdest fashion possible. My wife's dad passes away in January of 22, healthy as could be. And I'm like, life's too short. Like, I need to make a change here. We were, like I said, we were rocking and rolling where we were. I'm like, something has to kind of give. I want to be back in our neighborhood. And I walked into like Nick Berardinucci, Guy Quigley, a couple of the guys that we worked with, Jack, Gavin. And I was like, I think we should be moving offices. I want to be on the other side of the bridge. And none of them, and no hesitation at all. Like, let's just do it. And they went full steam ahead. So we opened up September of 22. I guess 9 months I was trying to get this application in, and every time we got denied. So so many lessons in opening a brokerage. First thing I would say, check and make sure the name is available before you start getting things printed. I went right off. I'm like, all right, we're going to be Hometown Real Estate. Hometown Real Estate's not available, right? So I had everything in my head, like designs, all this stuff. So and again, we leave in, I want to say like January, February. My wife's 3 months pregnant, or 6 months pregnant, and 6 months pregnant. And without hesitation, she's like, cool, just do what you're going to do, right? And at night I would sit at, I design out what I want to in color scheme and all this kind of stuff. And once we finally like got everything rocking and rolling, my kids were a week and a half early, and I'm in the hospital. I got the denial letter from the state of New Jersey because the name wasn't available. So now I got to go backtrack everything. I'm on Fiverr changing up the name of the company. I'm on the LLC website. So like the first week and a half my kid's born, I'm revamping the entire company.
God.
So luckily the location was already there, right? We had already basically moved in there. And I knew the premise was I wanted to be in Cinnaminson. I wanted vibrant colors so that like it stood out. I had this Notre Dame hoodie that like had this really cool like Kelly green look. And I was like, that and navy go pretty well together. So that's kind of our colors, even though I'm wearing a black sweatshirt now. So we open up there. My guys, they're in there the first day. We're painting the walls. We're not paying a painter because we don't have any money. I left just in the spur of the moment, and well, I'm like, we're just doing this. So we painted everything white. So we went from looking like Pepto-Bismol to like you were in it's like this, like you're like in an insane asylum. Like every wall was white.
Not to mention the never mind.
All right. So what we took over was a massage parlor and it was a massage parlor coupled with like a nail salon. So there were like areas that were like kind of blocked off that we had to like take care of and all that. We were across the street from the cemetery, so like our neighbors were quiet, which was nice. But like you're closing on a deal and like everybody's happy, and you look out and the first thing you see is cemetery. So the guys that we were renting from, really cool paisans, like just 3 brothers right off the boat from Italy. They're like, we have this spot in new building that we're building. You should come over here. Rent's about $500 higher. I'm like, all right, we're not doing what we need to because the interest rate's 8%. They lowered it for me just to try to get me in the door, and they're like, this is the perfect spot for you. We want you to have this.
Right.
And it was great for us because Britt did a settlement for me where the sellers walked up the 3 flights of steps that we were in before. There was no elevator. And I thought this lady was going to die. And I'm like, if we accidentally kill somebody with 3 flights of steps because they don't know that's what they're walking into, then I got to close up anyway.
Yeah.
So we found a first floor spot. You walked right in. It was great. But then the wheels start turning. It all kind of comes about. Mike Fasone, who does a lot of business with you guys, Jess Green, they had Dan on their team. decided they wanted to leave and come join us. And Mike was kind of my A1 recruit from the jump because we've been best friends, like real good friends doing this for years. And we came up in the business together. So once they came over, I'm like, now I feel like everything's complete. We need a billboard, right? That was my first thought is we need a billboard on the highway to like now show people we're here because financially, I kind of knew now we're really going to succeed, right? Yeah. I was doing this right off, like it was Nick and myself were kind of spearheading everything. And I'm lucky that like Nick's a $10 million producer, doesn't really ask for much, comes in the office and like shows up in basketball shorts. So like I have this guy that's just like how I am and he's ready to, rock with us. So, but there's only so much two guys can do. And I know Jess's work ethic, I know Mike's work ethic. So now I start to think this can actually be something more than just this little kind of office. I now have 4 players in here instead of just 2.
Right.
And that's no shot at all to the rest of the agents. They already know they're awesome. Love you guys. But it's very hard to find $8 to $10 million producing agents and people that they have pipelines that are just vast. So first thing in my mind, billboard, and the billboards are crazy expensive, like $5,000. And I'm like, we're already paying rent. So what's the next alternative?
That could be, one house.
Yeah. That could be 2 months of rent.
Yeah.
Right. If we find the right location. So there was a spot directly across the street. The Mart pretzel in Cinnaminson, which I brought you guys some.
Those pretzels are so good. The last time that I brought them back to the office, everybody was like, where are these from? They're so good.
Let them know. They're up there now. Right. So it's well known in town. Everybody knows where the Mart's at. So I'm like, I'm hitching my wagon to this. And I told the girl that owns it, I'm like, I'm putting a real estate brokerage right next to your store strictly for the fact that everybody knows where it's at. I never have to tell anybody in town where we're located at. We're next to the Mart, right? So stealing a little bit.
This is the strip mall place? Okay.
Yeah. So
every time I go to the office, there's always cars in and out the whole time I'm there.
Packed. Captain Chucky's is next door. So people come in like Easter season, Christmas season, it's mobbed with people. And like even like summer and all that kind of stuff. But you're getting lines out the door for crab cakes at that point, right? The pretzel place, always mobbed. I was there at 9 o'clock today to pick up pretzels and it's packed.
Have you seen an increase in business since you moved?
Yes, but I don't know how much is directly tied to that.
Okay.
I think a lot of it is, now we're like 3.5 years in, there's a lot of brand recognition. And again, the agents that we have here are now really kind of getting their swing. We went through a pretty, I don't want to say a downturn, but there was a little lull in between where October, November, December, you get the winter, but you also get like the lack of inventory and everything coupled. So I'm like, I don't know. I've never doubted that it'll work, right? And that's, I guess, an entrepreneurial mindset of just like, you just don't want to lose. But I've never like told myself this isn't going to work. But we got to a point where I didn't know how we would survive, but I think now it's the culmination of 3 years of marketing and trying to build a brand identity. I don't think having a 15-foot rider on Route 130 hurts us, believe me.
Right.
Especially it says Mart Pretzel and then that, and Eastern Dental, like where people get their dentistry done. But I think it's a lot of like the brand recognition is now starting to kind of take face.
Gotcha.
And I think you've built a really good team. I've always said, however people react when they're at the closing table, it says a lot about who they're working with. Yeah. And 99% of the time, all of the agents in the office, clients are happy, smiling, and they're not worried or concerned. And that says so much.
Well, and again, that's a testament to you guys too, though, because you get to the second step of this and the third step, right? So you call us, you want a house, and we get you lined up with a mortgage rep if you don't already have one. And then from there, we get you under contract. And the rest of the steps are, we do our due diligence, all that kind of stuff. Kenny, Kristen, the mortgage reps do their back end stuff. But you guys are, doing title, and everything's working so well in conjunction that there aren't really hiccups. We have hiccups, everybody has them, But I think the entirety of the team really helps that out. Individually, like singularly with our office, bringing Molly in is the best thing I've ever done.
She's your TC?
She is my CFO. Like there isn't even a word for what her position is. And she's only there like 5 hours a day. She has another job. She works like 14 hours a day. Yeah, she works for the city parks department, and then she works for us. She's in sometimes as early as 7:30. She doesn't get done her other job sometimes until like late at night.
Wow.
But she's in there every day. The way that she is with the agents and the agents are with her is the greatest thing that I've done so far in this industry. They know that their deals are getting done because she's on top of it, but she's never up your ass. Like it's never, you don't look at it and it's like a tough conversation. It's get your files over and, I just want to make sure you're on pat. And it's worked so well. But again, the entrepreneur in me is like every idea that I get, I spit out immediately. She's the first one to be like, that's a terrible idea. I had this idea that I thought was going to be like revolutionary. We're going to be like, take two little facets, right? So John is kind of like the dialect that, our friend group and the younger people, and like it represents Philadelphia, and we're local. And that's my biggest thing is like, how can we help the community and stay local? So I got these t-shirts made up that said like local John on the back of them. And I thought this was going to be like revolutionary. All these people are going to jump in. It's going to be really cool. We're going to start this movement. Younger guys or local realtors. And I got the t-shirts made, and most of the people I know wouldn't wear them. There were guys in like their 60s. I'm handing them t-shirts. They're like, I'm not wearing a shirt that says John on the back. So
There's a guy on a billboard, the lawyer.
Yeah, John Morgan. Yeah. So I was before that, right? I thought this was going to be so cool. Now I don't have to worry about that because Molly looks at me and she's like, that's a bad idea. Like you already know it's a bad idea, but if it comes to my head, I got to say, right? So we've come up with probably more bad ideas than we've come up with good ideas. But the Philly shirts were like kind of her design. And so I brought a couple, Nicole's got one here. We wanted to come up with something where it gives like the retro Phillies vibe, doesn't go necessarily with our color scheme or anything like that. But if you could, go down to the ball game, you could have that on. So we put it up on Facebook, who wants a free t-shirt? Within 3 minutes, we had 100 people that wanted t-shirts. We only had 100 t-shirts. So we're now on our second order of 100. And I went out to our local bar, Whistlers, the other day. There's bartenders wearing them. There's bartenders wearing the shirt 2 years ago. So like that kind of brand recognition has kind of propelled us a little bit forward. And I think now we're getting to a point buyer-wise that the buyers are okay paying the higher rate because they've been looking for 3 years and they just got to pull the trigger at this point.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps us out. Not only is the brand taking off, and that's my favorite thing about this is like the building of the brand and how can we grow this out more, whether or not it's doing parades or going to carnivals or whatever we do in town. But the brand is also coupling with the agents that we have and their expertise and the fact that buyers are finally ready. They're pulling the trigger and they're ready to start buying again.
Yeah. That's awesome.
The hard part, sellers.
I know brand recognition. I didn't recognize when I first started my company how important that really is.
Oh, it's huge.
But it's funny because you have people that'll be like having your shirt on and you're like, that's my company.
Absolutely.
And they don't even know that it's your company.
I send it to my wife. Every time I see somebody with the shirt on, like if I'm eating dinner and one of the bartenders has it on, I take a picture. It's like as proud as a dude can get, right?
Yeah.
Like I have my kid and my family, like that's the most proud thing in the world. But then you're watching your secondary baby here grow and people are kind of taking a hold of it and they love it. And I love it, right? So Jess was driving through Bridesburg the other day and a guy was wearing the shirt, walking his dog. Her husband rolls down the window and calls out to the guy. Here's my father-in-law. So didn't really matter anyway. Like he's always going to wear it, but it was cool for them to see that, but the brand part, like you had Mark on, and I actually talked to Mark and Volkan down at the Triple Play this past year. And that was the first thing I brought up to them was like, everybody sees the color scheme and then they see like the octopus and they do all that. you have to create this kind of brand that people can recognize
And remember.
and remember. And I'm like, I've never met these. I had met them previously for a minute, but I don't know these guys, and I know that's their brand.
Yeah.
And from there, I mean, the conversation was, you know, how they built their brand and what they do with their agents and what we do with our agents. And it was excellent, especially for somebody like myself. I'm by myself. I don't have a partner, right? Again, I have Nick, I have Jess, I had this team, Mike, I have this team behind me that just like propels us forward. But from a broker standpoint and an owner standpoint, it's just me, right? So hearing how they kind of yin and yang and how they built their brand, it really helped me with like, all right, well, we're doing the same thing, not nearly to the scale, right? I'm super content being your local real estate agent and a local brokerage. And I don't really have these dreams of growing to an astronomical level. I'd love to have a brokerage in a couple spots where like we vacation at, because I think that would be cool, right? So like North Myrtle Beach or Clearwater, Aruba. I don't know if Aruba, if you could even do that, right? But
That would be awesome.
I think that would be cool to get to those areas and have that. But I don't know. I've never really thought about how far out we can branch in different areas of like South Jersey. I think Nick or Jess would be excellent brokering a Poconos branch. I would love one down the shore, but I don't need 10 or 15 in between. I'm content.
That was actually going to be my final question. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years with your company?
That's a good question. All right. So I love doing this, and I love the building of the business aspect. I'm going to always be a realtor, so I'm going to keep that going. I think taking the time to be a realtor full-time and be a broker probably hinders our ability to grow in totality.
Sure.
So I don't know whether or not it's, you know, Nick, Molly, myself, and Jess and Mike forming like some sort of a leadership group to then grow out that way, or putting people into broker school or whatever it is. Like I said, I'd love a couple different branches. I think that would be cool. I don't need you to go to, you know, Minnesota and see a hometown realty sign. I just don't. Life is really short, and I get a ton of time with my family and with my wife. I get to watch my kid grow up. I don't work that hard, right? Like, my dad asked me when I was a kid, he's like, do you want to work on roofs the rest of your life? Like, it's daunting work, and it breaks your back, and like you're, you know, you don't get to live this kind of life. You're out in the heat in August, right? I don't do any of that. I get to wear this, go into work, and talk to people.
It's not work for you, and that's why it doesn't feel like
I
you
love
work hard.
it, like I do.
But you do work hard because you're accomplished and you're successful.
But it's all the people around me. Like I was talking to, I have an aunt that called me. She's in Florida, and I said, I was like, I'm actually going to probably talk about you guys on the podcast today, because I had this support system of, like, I call them the aunts, and it's my Aunt Faye, my Aunt Mary Kay, my Aunt Eileen, Aunt Sue, like all these, my mom, my mother-in-law. Every time we get a share on any post that we put out, it could be Nick could have a rental, right? Or Derek could have sold some piece of land somewhere. My mom shares it out. And then my mother-in-law shares it out. And then the aunts share it out. And I'm like, this support system kind of is what keeps this growing. Like, It's really easy to stop and say, all right, well, I'm content with, we have 19 agents. I never thought we'd have that. And I'd love to hit 50 internal local agents. I'd love to have 100 agents across a vast region. But the support that we have 3 years into this, and the people that I surround myself with, it makes my life really easy. And I don't know that I want to trade that off at this point in my life for rapid growth. And again, I live a really simple lifestyle. We go to the same bar and restaurant every week. It's Thursday night, so I'll be at Whistler's if anybody's watching this. I get to spend this time watching my kid grow up, and watching, like, Jess brings her kid into the office. I'm watching him grow up, and you get to see these things and not work. I don't want to say not work hard, because it is hard work.
You're working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a lot of mental, right? And it's a lot of, you have to answer your phone at 11 o'clock at night. My first email goes out at 6 o'clock in the morning. But as I'm sending that email out, I'm making my kids breakfast, right? Or I'm helping my wife with, like, chores around the house. And I think if you're able to kind of balance that out and that's the life that you want, I think it's perfect. So hopefully you'll see one in North Myrtle Beach, right? I would love that. Clearwater Beach, maybe Orlando, right? And then maybe Aruba. But if Nick wants to open one in the Poconos, Jess, if somebody wants to open one in North Wildwood, I welcome it. And if you want to be a broker, you want to be a realtor and you have no home, we don't really recruit. I'm not the guy that is going to call you. We're very like-minded kind of people. But if you have these dreams and you don't feel like you're in the right spot, come give us a shout, and I'll entertain any conversation. As you can tell, I love the.
How do people get in touch with you?
I would say probably the easiest thing would be htrassociates.com or Hometown Realty Associates on Instagram. But call me. My number is 609-304-3725. My email is frank@htrjersey.com. I love talking about this stuff. As you can't see it, I love talking with my hands apparently. So hopefully we can edit this out a little bit. But now I would love to talk to anybody who wants to talk real estate, whether or not you are stuck in a hole at a brokerage and you want to stay there, but you don't think there's any growth. I will talk you off a ledge and I stay where you're at. I love that there's people that love where they're at. Don't get me wrong. But if you feel like you're stuck in a rut, I've been there and our door's always open.
Well, thank you for coming today. I'm
Sorry for talking
happy.
so much.
No,
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so glad you were able to
You're the best.
make it, and I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Rockstar Closers, everything you need.
How you gonna do it? I'm gonna trade my clerk for a Rockstar dame. I'd even get my broker to change his game. Cause we all just wanna work with top rockstars and sell some hilltop houses, closing 15 more. The cities come easy and the closings go quick. We'll all stay busy cause we just don't quit, and we'll